Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. Please subscribe and keep watching more details. Did Julie Chrisley apologize to the victims of her crime? Fans have been dying to know if Julie Chrisley ever apologized to the victims of her crimes. There is a lot to unfold when it comes to Julie Chrisley and her recent resentencing. It seems that some fans are fed up with Julie and her family at this point. Keep reading to find out more about this situation. Julie Chrisley and her resentencing. Julie Chrisley recently had her resentencing hearing. This is something she and her family were hopeful about. She requested to attend via Zoom. However, the judge denied that request. Julie also asked to wear street clothes for her hearing. This was denied as well. One more thing that was denied was a 24-hour furlough she had requested. When it came to her getting a new prison sentence, she received the same amount of time as before. This was devastating for her children to hear as they wanted her home. Did she ever apologize to her victims? Fans have been dying to know if Julie Chrisley has ever apologized to her victims. Well, the answer is no. A fan made sure others knew that. Other fans agreed in the comment section of the Reddit post. They feel as though she should not have asked for all the things she did. They also feel as though she should have apologized to her victims. It seems as though Julie has not once apologized to her victims. However, some fans wonder if she does not feel guilty because she has no clue about what Todd was doing. Regardless, people do not like how Julie tries to get special treatment due to her fame. They also think this is why Julie did not get any time off from her sentencing. Maybe because she asked for a lot of treatments leading up to the resentencing as well. Inside a quiet federal courtroom where echoes of shattered trust hung like a dense fog, Julie Chrisley stepped forward. Her appearance demure, her voice softer than the headlines that once screamed her name. The former reality TV matriarch of Chrisley, Knows Best Now, stood in a very different spotlight, stripped of glamour, stripped of control. And as the world wondered whether she would ever take accountability for her role in the multi-million-dollar fraud that upended lives and rocked her fan base, one question refused to go away. Did Julie Chrisley ever apologize to the victims of her crime? The answer, like much of the Chrisley saga, is complex. When Julie and her husband Todd were convicted of conspiracy to commit bank fraud and tax evasion, the fallout wasn't limited to courtroom consequences or prison cells. Their financial crimes had victims, real people and institutions who suffered financially, emotionally, and reputationally. Bank managers who lost careers, former associates who had to defend their names, and everyday taxpayers who indirectly absorbed the shock of high-profile fraud. Julie, often seen as the more composed and maternal figure on the show, had quietly become a symbol of betrayal for many. Yet for months after her conviction, Julie remained largely silent, at least publicly, about those she had harmed. Her initial statements, filtered through press releases and legal teams, focused on maintaining innocence, calling the trial unfair, and focusing on family separation. While many sympathized with her role as a mother forcibly parted from her children, others questioned why she hadn't acknowledged the pain her actions caused beyond her immediate circle. Behind the scenes, however, a different narrative began to unfold. According to a source close to the Chrisley legal team, Julie began to pen a series of personal letters while incarcerated, letters that were never intended for public release. She started writing shortly after the conviction was upheld, the source revealed. They weren't legal strategies. They were just confessions, reflections, and yes, apologies. Some of these letters, reportedly addressed to financial officers, former friends, and even anonymous figures affected by the fraud, remained private. But whispers of their tone, raw, remorseful, deeply spiritual, began to trickle out through family members and those who had received them. In one letter, reportedly shared in confidence with a former bank manager who testified during the trial, Julie allegedly wrote, "I will never pretend I didn't benefit from the choices we made, but I also won't pretend that I understood the full weight of our actions until now. I see now that pride blinded me, and in that pride, I hurt people I never even met. I am sorry, deeply and fully sorry." It wasn't a headline. It wasn't an Instagram Live. But for the recipient, it was a turning point. One of the few public glimpses into Julie's evolving mindset came during a closed-door faith-based women's program inside the Kentucky facility where she's serving time. Speaking to a group of fellow incarcerated women, Julie spoke, without cameras, she admitted, her voice cracking. "People who trusted systems that we exploited. I thought of myself as a homemaker, not a fraudster. But in the end, I was both. I can't fix the past, but I can carry the truth of it." Word of the statement leaked through a volunteer who was deeply moved. She didn't try to blame Todd. She didn't deflect. It was one of the first times I saw someone from a reality show drop the act. Still, many critics say it's too little, too late. Legal experts note that while personal letters and in-prison confessions are meaningful, they do little for the victims unless paired with restitution or public accountability. And while the Chrisleys have been ordered to pay millions in restitution, the victims of fraud, especially those whose careers were entangled in the scandal, say they've heard nothing officially from Julie herself. Former friend and business associate Erin Caldwell, who once vouched for the Chrisleys during their early rise, said she felt betrayed but also baffled. "I don't need a handwritten letter," Caldwell said. "I need her to go on record. To say, yes, I did this. Yes, people got hurt, and I'm sorry. Not because she has to, because she wants to. That's when I'll believe it." Julie's daughter Savannah has hinted that her mother's time behind bars has softened and humbled her. In a recent podcast appearance, Savannah said, "Mom is doing a lot of soul-searching. She's reading scripture daily. She's made peace with people in her past in ways she never thought she would." But even Savannah stopped short of saying her mother had issued a public apology. "She's not ready for the cameras yet," Savannah admitted. "She wants to do it right." And so, the answer to whether Julie Chrisley has apologized to the victims of her crime is not black and white. In private, in-prison programs, and in deeply personal writings, the answer seems to be yes. She has apologized, owned up, and begun the emotional restitution. But to the public, to the people directly impacted and waiting for visible accountability, that apology remains elusive. Some believe it will come once her legal appeals are exhausted, and she's finally free to speak without fearing legal implications. Others think it will come in the form of a memoir, a possibility rumored to be in development. A tell-all that explores not only her crimes, but her guilt, her remorse, and her reckoning. But until Julie Chrisley faces a camera, a courtroom, or a press room, and offers a sincere, unfiltered apology to the people she harmed, without excuse, without self-pity, there will always be a question mark. Still, even the smallest seed of remorse, planted in the most unlikely of places, a prison chapel, a shared bunk, a dog-eared Bible, has the potential to bloom. Maybe Julie's apology isn't over. Maybe it's just beginning.